Warning, this video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest in capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel and welcome to the week, welcome to Monday. As I often say, it is a wild time to be alive. This year is going to continue to be more and more wild, in my humble opinion. On Saturday, I did a live stream with Kemazabi here, and Kemazabi said the following.
Thing that I've been talking about with the bond market?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to have such an influx of liquidity. So to give you a background on that, the United States government they're in talks. I think they're debating it today, whether or not they're going to pass the Repo for Ukrainians Act, which is to confiscate Russian assets that are held in U.S. institutions, sell them at market, and provide liquidity to Ukraine to buy munitions to fight against Russia. So they'd be taking Russian assets to fight against Russia. Well, that would erode the confidence of the U.S. Treasury market very rapidly, and your sovereign nations would just say, I don't want to hold that. Why would I hold that? You're going to use it against me? Yeah, no thanks. So that's how many trillions are in that market? Some $70 trillion, $100 trillion in that bond market. It's the most liquid market on earth. If you have a fraction of that gets spooked, all equities around the globe, Bitcoin, gold, everything, it could have a very, very quick spike. That'll surprise everybody. And you'd be talking gold, 3,500, Bitcoin, I don't know, 180 to 220K. Your S&P 500 could be making that 6,500 to $7,000 target. It could get very, very wild if you.
I think we get $60 silver as well, no problem. Fast forward to today, and the House of Representatives have actually approved this bill. Okay, so are we about to see that major catalyst come in? Remember, we've been talking about this for a while, right? That we would get into this timing window for this cycle low, we would have flushed and reset the sentiment, and then we were looking for some kind of catalyst to come in to force that cycle low and to begin the next leg higher. I had been, of course, speculating that we would be about to set this second angle of attack and then shortly thereafter find some reason to move into that third and final angle, that parabolic blow off top. And this just might do it. It has got to go to Senate and they have to sign it off, and then it's got to go to the president to be signed off. But to be honest, given what has just been said, I think this is probably going to be approved, right? They have a history of already moving money into that country that we've spoken about earlier. I don't see why this time would be different. And it is to be determined still at this point. But like I said, we've only got to get a couple more signatures on it, and then that's the thing approved. And if that is the case, which we'll be watching very closely over the coming couple of weeks, it is only reasonable that will completely erode confidence in the Treasury market. We will see that capital flee and look for other places to go, places that it can't be confiscated and used against them. And of course, this should indeed drive this melt up. This should force prices higher to generate that exit liquidity for the big players. If you think the rally had been hated up till this point, then wait until you see what happens when we start to go even more vertical. If you think it made no sense up until now, then wait until you see how little sense it makes when we start setting that third and final angle. Now, of course, again, I want to be clear. It's just a hypothesis. It's still to be determined, but I can see this thing getting approved personally. And if it does, then I could see, like I said, that Treasury liquidity being freed up and hunting down risk assets. I would also expect this to erode dollar confidence. Now, the dollar chart, as you know, is pretty bullish. We have potentially got a 3-year cycle low. It seems to have broken out. It seems to be resuming off. We seem to have plenty of space left for this thing to continue higher, and that's something we need to watch out for. But if there was going to be a catalyst to turn this into a fake breakout, to get this thing to break down and have not yet found its 3-year cycle low, perhaps it comes slightly later in the year. If there was ever going to be a catalyst to erode the confidence in the dollar, then boy oh boy, should this be it. it also makes me wonder if we're going to see the yields come off. And I suspect that this is a possible explanation. This bill right here is a possible explanation for why we saw Operation Reverse Twist. Remember, Operation Reverse Twist is them buying the short end heavily and selling the long end and the mortgage-backed securities, that type of stuff. So I wonder if they knew this was coming. I wonder if they knew that this was going to cause a loss of confidence and a bunch of selling of these bonds. And I wonder if, therefore, this is their reasoning for Operation Reverse Twist, where they are buying all of the short-term debt. I will be interested to see if yields do indeed move lower. And the reason I say that is because if they do, we'll be looking for it to lead the Fed funds rate lower as well. I know I've showed this before a couple of times. Here in orange is the Fed funds rate. Here in green is a 2-year yield. And the blue vertical lines denote every single time at which the Fed funds rate moved above the green, the 2-year bond yield. You can see every time we got a Fed funds rate cross above the 2-year yield, we moved to a pause and then a cut-in cycle, which was led lower by the yield on the 2-year bond. We saw the same thing in every single case, right? Orange moves above green, we get a pause, and then the 2-year yield breaks down, leading the Fed funds rate lower. Is this time going to be different? Okay, are we going to see 1 or 2 more pauses perhaps? This end up being a lower high and a lower low, leading the Fed funds rate to the downside right around the time when everyone is talking about higher for longer. The Fed keep telling us they're not going to cut rates and they're going to keep pushing this thing back and changing their story all the time. I wonder if this is the catalyst that erodes the confidence in the dollar. I wonder if this 2-year yield is about to start to break down and thus lead the Fed funds rate into the onset of a cutting cycle. So you can file this one again under what a wild time to be alive. As I said, we haven't yet had this thing approved, right? There are still more signatures to be collected, but you know, if this thing is to be approved over the coming days or weeks, I would certainly expect this to act as a catalyst. I would certainly expect an enormous influx of liquidity into those risk assets, as I said, and thus I would be expecting to see our second angle and third angle for the S&P and the stock market get set in the very near term. And I would also expect to see that third and final angle start to get set, whether it's from here or whether perhaps it starts higher up. Maybe we do something more like this. I would expect to see this angle come in for Bitcoin in the not too distant future as well. So what a wild time to be alive. And I really don't think people will be ready for this, to be completely honest. So welcome to the week. As I said, welcome to what I believe is going to be a very, very wild year. I still think we've seen nothing. I really do. I still think we've seen nothing. What a fantastic way to kick off Monday. And as if that's not enough, okay? BlackRock was the first to come out and bash Bitcoin, only to then pivot its stance and start to treat Bitcoin more nicely. Of course, then it moves into launching its spot ETF. And now we have the IMF also turn positive on Bitcoin. The IMF has come out and said that Bitcoin has become a necessary financial tool for preserving wealth amid financial instability. I can't read this thing without laughing because we all know the IMF absolutely hates Bitcoin. So did they really change their tune? No, I don't believe so. What I believe is we are indeed getting closer and closer to that parabolic blow off top. We are indeed going to continue to force people to have to capitulate to the buy side. And we're going to have to continue to give Bitcoin this seal of approval, this apparent recognition from the biggest players on the planet. And I might add all of this right in time for the people that have been wrong-footed the whole way to throw in the towel, buy the top, and then continue to buy the dips on the way down. Bitcoin is doing Bitcoin things. I'll move this out of the way so we can see. Okay, finding a nice half-cycle low. I'll just say this about Bitcoin because I know this half-cycle low is getting a lot of people excited. A lot of people think that that's probably the low and we're going to start to tear higher. And we might. We absolutely might. But from a cycle perspective, we have not yet elapsed enough time. And that makes me think that even if we run the all-time highs, even if we take the liquidity from above this prior all-time high, then we are going to have to reverse it and dump it off lower down before then finding that cycle low and go. That is just my read. You know, like I've said a million times, when we find a cycle low and it's bullish, it usually looks like this, right? That's usually what it wants to do. But when we find a cycle low and chop for a month, it's very rare and unusual in my experience that Bitcoin will then come blasting off out of here. Now, of course, if we get a catalyst, maybe something can drive that like I was talking about earlier. But from a cycle perspective, okay, this tells me that we are going to continue to chop for around a month. Still going to be looking for the stock market to set its second angle, find a cycle low and start to resume to the upside this week. That's the same for the NASDAQ and for the Dow. I think we're probably going to be getting some longs. So if you're a level 3 member, look out for the signals in the members section. And I hope what we're going to get for gold is that undercut, okay? Undercut, that 2 drives pattern into that cycle low, and that makes dealing with that a lot easier. So Hopefully we can get it. If not, we'll deal with that one day at a time as always. And I am also noticing, believe it or not, this is oil, okay? Remember, everyone super bullish on oil. Everyone thinks oil's going higher, just like they did back here. And so far, rejection at resistance. So got to watch for a half cycle low bounce here. Got a cycle low here. If we can do something like this, right? Half cycle low, fake out, failed cycle, and then reject at resistance. Somewhere in here will be a lovely short opportunity, in my humble opinion. So looking out for that. I know everyone, every time I ever talk about shorting oil or oil going lower, everyone gets really annoyed about it. But if you're bullish oil, then this is what you need to see, okay? You need to see this half cycle low bounce, you need to see find a cycle low, and then you need to see resumption of this uptrend confirming this breakout. For now, I mean, what do you see from here, okay? I don't even need to say it, do I? We know what that is. That is rejection. So things are heating up. The year continues continues to be the best show on earth. We have front row tickets to the best show on earth, and I absolutely love it. As you can see, right, we're getting into that neighborhood where it's time to be looking for some swings and some reversals. The only thing is, I am cautiously optimistic on Bitcoin. Like I said, I do think we need more time. I think a lot of people are going to jump in here, chase this move higher. It's going to break to all-time high. That will trap a bunch more people to be like, yeah, let's go, breaking the all-time high. And then they're probably going to need to take all that liquidity and dump it lower down into that cycle low in around a month's time. So that's what the cycles say. I'm sticking with it until proven wrong, as always. If you made it this far, comment what a wild time to be alive. And other than that, I hope you're doing well in life. I hope you have a fantastic week. And until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.